Here we go. Yeah.
Hi, it's your radio again. Can you do me a favor? Get your fingers off my right knob for a second and turn the left one all the way to the right. That's it. Because you're going to want to hear every second of this.
What you're hearing is the inevitable sound of change happening to this frequency.
Obama is a radical communist, and I think it's becoming clear. That's what I told people in Illinois, and now everybody realizes it's true.
And I feel that the country's turning towards socialism.
To bring about more and more socialism. A socialist?
In an avalanche of socialism.
Barack Obama, socialist.
President Obama, with socialism written below.
The word socialist is becoming a code word, whether or not...
Spent hundreds of billions bailing out banks, auto companies, and reforming the healthcare system.
This quasi-Muslim, socialist, communist, Marxist freak called Barack Hussein Obama.
The question that I have for you today is, how do you ensure that you get heard? How do you ensure when parenting, when in the work environment, with your friends, with your peers, with your opposition, your foes, your neighbors, your loved ones, how do you make sure that you're heard? Typically, it's by raising your voice. If you ever notice, most of the most important things that you ever heard in your life, the speaker was either speaking loudly or very as a matter of fact. And that is what I'm asking you now to do. If you're listening, it's because you get it. And there are many of you that listen to We the People who listen only so that you can ask yourself, what is this lunatic going to say next? And I get that. But the majority of you are friends of mine. We've gone through this together for a long time. And we've established some sort of a relationship with one another. And so I think that you understand for the most part where it is that I'm coming from, which is why very rarely I have to yell at you. I very rarely yell at all. But do you feel like you're being heard? I talked yesterday about, I was begging you to get a hold of a copy of the Constitution from any medium that you possibly could and introduce that Constitution to everybody, to your neighbors, to your friends, to your family members, your loved ones, your acquaintances, your opposition, regardless of their political or religious viewpoints. I just asked you, please put the Constitution in front of these people. Have you done that? I don't do this every day just to hear myself talk. I know that you agree with me. I know you nod your head when I'm speaking most of the time. I'm wrong sometimes. You're wrong sometimes. But when it's important to you, that means that it's time to speak up. This is important to me, which is why I talk to you every day. And I talk to you about it. I told you, I believe it was on the 27th of last month, in May of 2010, I said, I won't stand for somebody who says, quote unquote, I don't talk politics. This isn't about politics. It's not about red. It's not about blue. It's not about right. It's not about left. It's not about Democrat. It's not about Republican. This is about the Constitution, our freedoms, our individual liberties, our rights to succeed, our rights to fail, our freedom of speech, our right to bear arms. All of these things are coming under attack. And that's what this is about. And that's why I'm asking you to join me in raising your voice. Not becoming violently loud, but in raising your voice based on factual, fundamental information. Start with the Constitution. I'm asking you again, if you haven't done so already, put the Constitution in front of these people. You don't have to say anything. You just have to ask them, have you read this? Hey, do me a favor and read this. Wherever they get their news from, they'll interpret it their own way anyways. just put the Constitution in front of them. I never thought that I would say this before, but does Fidel Castro get it? Fidel Castro, according to the Associated Press, Obama lives in a fantasy world. Could Obama enjoy the emotions of a second presidential election without having the Pentagon or the State of Israel, whose conduct does not in the least obey the decisions of the United States, use nuclear weapons against them? Iran. How would life on our planet be after that? This is Castro talking. The current danger, North Korea could be attacked by the United States. The recent incident that happened in that country's waters. Fidel Castro is pointing this out. President Obama can give hundreds of speeches trying to reconcile contradictions that are irreconcilable, dreaming of the magic of his well-articulated phrases, he wrote. But Castro said Obama, quote, makes concessions to personalities and groups totally lacking in ethics and draws fantasy worlds that only fit in his head and that unscrupulous advisors, knowing his tendencies, plant in his mind. Fidel Castro gets it, that this guy is a puppet. Barack Obama is a puppet living in a fantasy world, according to Fidel Castro. People are starting to get it. People, for example, Paul Ryan. Paul Ryan gets it. This is Paul Ryan back during the healthcare debate.
Why has this decision become so personal to our constituents? Why are so many people swarming the Capitol today? Mm-hmm. Why have we received 100,000 calls an hour from around the country? Mm-hmm. It's because health care affects every one of us.
Oh.
And yet here we are, debating whether the government should have a bigger role in making those personal decisions. So make no mistake about it. We are not just here to pass a health care bill. Mm-hmm. We are being asked to make a choice about the future path of this country.
And Paul Ryan from Wisconsin, this guy is a rising superstar in the Conservative Party. I'm telling you, keep your eyes on Paul Ryan. Do every single little bit of research that you can on Paul Ryan and encourage him. Send him emails. Tell him to keep up. It's really easy for people like Paul Ryan to be so strong and then all of a sudden disappear. It's very common, because they don't gain the support from the constituencies. I don't think Paul Ryan really gives a damn, to be honest with you, about the opposition. He is here to govern, and he hasn't forgotten that he's here to govern for the people of his state. He is here to govern for what he feels is the best interest of his constituencies. And how does he know what's in the best interest of the people from the state of Wisconsin? Because he listens to them. And that's what he was saying. See, the people of Wisconsin are speaking loud. And Paul Ryan, in turn, is then speaking loud. His voice is being heard. Whether or not it's actually being digested by this rogue administration is irrelevant. But the people of the United States are learning lessons from Paul Ryan, because Paul Ryan is gaining the face time, because Paul Ryan is speaking loud. What we need to do is multiply Paul Ryan by millions. Because I know that you feel this way. I know that you feel a certain way. I know that you nod your head in agreement at most of the things that I tell you. I know that you nod your head in agreement when Paul Ryan talks, when Jan Brewer talks from Arizona. I know that you nod your head in agreement when you hear conservatives talking. When you hear people talking about lesser government, more freedoms, more individual responsibility, allowing parenting to take place, allowing individual decisions to affect the way that people live their lives, rather than more government control, rather than more government takeover, rather than more socialism, rather than more fascism, rather than more Marxism, rather than following in the footsteps of those countries who people defect from to come here to get away from that, and now those very people are supporting this president trying to turn our country into what they just left. Make your voice loud. Get that Constitution. Deliver it to the people that you know. Every single person that you know. Get into the Constitution and start making your voice loud. Start making your voice loud now. Multiply Paul Ryan by millions. Back tomorrow with more We the People. My name is Stu Peters.
So, you get all that? Good. Now quit touching my knob. And lay off the buttons, too. Okay?
At Amway Global, we harvest healthy plant nutrients from our own organic farms. Nutrients found in our top-selling supplements. That's the power of positive. Amway Global.